Thank you for choosing us. Thank you for staying with us. And today we have a surprise package in the studio. But I want to see whether I'm going to be able to surprise the other guest, right? As for Sweetie Abochi, she's my in-house guest. But Wisdom Dogbe joins the conversation. Wisdom, good morning.
Good morning.
Wisdom, do you see what I see?
No, I see you.
Okay. Let's switch the camera, and I think Wisdom Dogbe will see what I want him to see. There you go. Do you see him now? So today you've missed out.
Is in the studio.
There's a new host. There's two of them are reviewing the paper. I'm the host of the program. I've come to host the program because they're not doing a good job. So by popular request, I'm told to come in and host, let them review, and you will be the witness of whether they do a good job. That will come
out of your 2 minutes thing.
Do you remember that song? Though it's but I'll reframe it this way. Ogoro, they see what they see. There's a new host in town.
Wisdom.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, my brother. It's good to be here. I thought
you're looking good. I like your bow tie.
Thank you very much. I have plenty of them. I'll send you some in the US.
I'll come for one myself when I come.
No, don't come. I'll bring you one.
But gentlemen. Speaking of which, both of you look really dapper this morning. It's almost as though there was a memo that was shared.
Oh, no memo.
The two of you look very dapper.
He got up.
That's why for Joe and I, we are becoming friends.
All right, gentlemen. Sweetie, would you like to usher us into that?
I was enjoying this. But, let's get straight to business. I want to start with you, Wisdom. What would be your 2 minutes take for us this morning?
Sure. Once again, good morning. I read this article about this Fitch rating projection that Ghana is likely going to face some serious liquidity pressure for the next 2 years, despite the debt restructuring effort. It's not surprising, to be honest, but it's definitely a wake-up call or warning to the next administration that the economic mess our current leaders have driven the nation into. This mess is likely going to take a little while. You know, it's going to linger on for a little while. And I mean, it will take a while to clean this thing up. And I hope that the next administration will hit the ground running with the necessary strategic interventions, to avert the liquidity crisis and address the high interest rate situations. I would strongly recommend, strengthening our fiscal discipline ahead of time, to prevent this crisis. I'm talking about implementing strict budgetary controls to align government spending with revenue generation and also diversify our revenue sources. Of course, we have the IMF and the World Bank, right? They are giving us loans to ease some of these economic stresses. But we should be more proactive, sweetie, with our policies, to include, enhancing foreign exchange reserves, and also promotes local currency financing, including, issuances of the most domestic bonds and securities to raise more funds locally, and also strengthen the banking sector. And lastly, I would also recommend, monetary policy adjustments, including further cutting the policy rate once all of the conditions are met for a rate cut. And also, let's strengthen the Bank of Ghana's operational independence from a political influence perspective, right? So they can continue their good work of pursuing effective monetary policy, which I believe can help reduce interest rate.
Thank you. So the financial analyst giving us a take from the finance sector. Kojo Poku.
Will he give us
I want to know
energy sector?
No, I wouldn't.
I get the feeling I wouldn't run away from the energy sector.
No, I'm not. I can do it, but why? Look, everything is good. The lights are on. People are happy.
Hey,
the lights are 100% on. Look, the fact that people want to push, well, I'll take away from your 2 minutes. You keep talking. Look, the most important thing this morning, the beautiful day this morning, is that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the bus of possibilities, is in Ayawaso Central. Okay. That is why I'm here at this studio, sits in Ayawaso Central, right? And today we are shaking Ayawaso Central. We are shaking Ablekuma Central, which is basically, Doctor is coming.
Ablekuma Central.
Ablekuma Central, and no, the center of Accra. We are basically shaking the center of Accra. The bus of possibilities is coming into town. Everybody is excited to see him in the center of Accra. After a successful tour of the Ashanti region, a successful tour of the northern region, Dr. has now completed 268 constituencies out of the 276. The only presidential candidate that has done that in any election cycle, to visit every constituency. We have about 8 to go, and after today, we'll do the OT where my brother is from. We have some constituencies there to finish. We'll go back to Ashanti region, and then we'll complete the entire 276 constituencies. Right. So it's going well. We are just looking forward to 7 December. Ghanaians have made their mind that Omeshe Womodachi Ato Abapa, which is
no longer Shawa City.
No. Shewodachi Neto Abapa, and that is what Ghanaians are focusing on. The energy sector looks great. There's no problem. Everybody's light is on. Your light is off now. Call into the studio. I'll put the regional. If it's Accra, whichever region is on, I'll put a regional engineer on. Your light will come back in less than 5 minutes.
You should actually take him up on this challenge. If
no, definitely. If your lights are off, call the show now.
It's not about right now.
No, call the show. Whilst we are here.
The entire week, commentary on X. It's about how the heat, there's no air blowing.
That's what I find.
That's what's making you laugh this morning.
I've been talking about
X is very faceless and very dodgy.
No, we are here for the next interactions we have with
that's fine, but we are here for the next 30.
Even me myself.
My brother, your show is widely watched. Do you know why? Because everybody who's watching us, their light is on. So everybody watching us has lights. So if you are watching us, you know somebody whose light was off, call that person. Okay. Oh, they are saying that. Call us. If you call us, I'll find out how you got to know that.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. 0302 211 691 extension 2. Call that number. Yeah. If your light is out, give us a call.
This trouble.
How will everybody whose light is off?
For the sake of time, let's do this quickly. 0302. I would appreciate it if we could put it on the screen. 0302 211 691. 0302 211 691. Maybe extension 2. My producer will give me directives.
I'm tempted to say share the link. Those whose lights are off can watch us right now. So if you're watching us across any digital platform, spread the link, spread the word. That's Kojo Poku wants to know if your lights are on.
And if you're live on Facebook and you think you can't call, you could also just...
and we will attend to this problem right away. Everybody's...
Right. So, gentlemen, I want to start with a Daily Graphic newspaper. Graphic EC discuss election 2024 readiness tomorrow. Shraj delivers mixed verdict on National Cathedral. Police arrest 26 for toy gun-related crimes. And ahead of election 2024, Keep Up News Validator Status, that is the National Media Commission, charging Graphic. Tapahene sets ambitious investment target, marks Silver Jubilee on Tuesday. Where do we start from? I want to start from this verdict from Shraj. It's on page 16 of the Daily Graphic newspaper. And it reads, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice has delivered a mixed verdict on its investigations into the construction of the National Cathedral, upholding parts of the complaint against the project coordinators while dismissing other aspects. Specifically, the commission said the allegation of breaches of mandatory procurement proceedings under the Public Procurement Act, as amended by Act 719, was justified. I know we all know the story, and we have our first caller on the line. I'll put a pin in this and speak to our first caller, calling from Shangri-La. Good morning. You're on the AM show. Do you have lights?
Actually, yeah, we have lights here, but it hasn't been as he used to say that our light issues are that good. They are not all that good. And we've been having these challenges. Even last week, we were having lights out around the side. And well, this morning I will be sincere to say we have lights in here, but then we've been using our plants here for a while.
Right. So when was the last time? When was the last time your power went out? Briefly.
That was just about last week. We were having lights out.
Okay. Thank you for calling.
Right. So it was twice there.
Well, thank you. So he's experienced some power outages, but as he speaks to us, he has lights.
Yes,
so,
I know.
Right. So put a pin in the Shraj verdict. I'll come to you in a bit. On politics, more voter education needed to reduce rejected ballots. There's a story here I want to do. Police arrest 26 for toy gun-related crimes, and this is on page 27 of the Daily Graphic. I'll get to it in a bit. And I know that although those 26 people were picked up yesterday, I saw some should I call them Ghanaian celebrities, still doing that water gun challenge of a sort. I don't know what it's really about, but should they be picked up too? Page 27, where are you? Oh, beg your pardon, I can't find it. But let's do some other stories while I get to that. Jumia Ghana expands operations with new warehouse ahead of Black Friday. Okay. Right. So, Dumasia Midwife wins overall outstanding Ghana Health Service Award. I'm trying to get to that story about, it did say 22 and 27, but I can't find that. But we know that the Ghana Police Service has picked up 27 people who were doing that water gun challenge on social media, where among friends, they just shoot at each other with water guns. They say it violates something, and I wanted to get into that to understand what their perspective is. But let's move on. Rescuing, resetting Ghana's basic education. Basic education is conceptualized as a range of educational activities that help students meet their basic learning. Its foundation for, I think this is an editorial, so pick it up and read it for yourself. Policy dialogue on childcare centers, health in Accra. Ghana Blind Union receives white canes from GCB Bank. And Pharmaceutical Society warns against abuse of antimicrobial drugs. The Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana has cautioned the public against the abuse of antimicrobial drugs for undiagnosed diseases. It said not only was the abuse a threat to the health safety, but the consequences of AMR transcended health, as it also affected food security, economic stability, and development. That is the president of PCGH, pharmacist Dr. Samuel Kordonko, said at a press conference. We also have another caller, so let's speak to him while I try and find that story. Good morning. Where are you calling from, and do you have lights as we speak?
I'm calling from Upper West Region. My name is Clint Maulan.
Okay. When was the last time you had a power outage?
Yeah, the light there, it has been coming on and off, on and off. They can take it for some 30 minutes and they will bring it back. So that's what we're challenging over there.
But as we speak, you have lights?
Yeah, they just brought it right now.
Ah, okay.
The light just came on.
Don't yet.
It's not all that simple. We just take it within 20, 30 minutes, they will bring it back. Almost every day, it has been going on like that.
Which specific part in the Upper West region are you?
Specifically, Gulu in the Upper West region, near to Burkina Faso.
Oh, Golu?
Gulu, yes, please.
All right, thank you very much. So your light just came.
Dr. Hila Liman's village.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for joining the conversation.
But you heard him say that it's on and off. Yeah. Okay, so let me do just one last story and then I'll come to you. Adequate security measures in place for elections. The Volta Regional Police Commander, DCOP Andrews Boedu Ekuma, has assured the citizenry that adequate security measures have been put in place to ensure peace and order at all 2,349 polling stations in the 18 constituencies of the region during the upcoming elections. I think this is an assurance coming from the Ghana Police Service on security ahead of election 2024. But so the Shraj mainly, and then any other story that piques your interest. But because you're in studio, I do want to start with Wisdom Dugu. Okay. I'll come back to you. Wisdom.
Yeah, so kudos to Honorable Okujeto and to Shraj for their boldness and independence in investigating this matter and arriving at a recommendation that the authorities should conduct a thorough forensic audit and possibly, prosecute the trustees of the National Cathedral project. Look, on this issue, I'll say this. In Ghana, a bunch of people go to church, but we just don't fear God. If we fear God, how can you possibly say we have spent north of 220 million cedis just for preparation? Preparation, not even part of the building itself. Just preparation before you even start to build. What is the value of money in that? We don't fear God to the extent that we are using the name of God to allegedly steal money under the guise of building a cathedral for the Lord. May the Lord have mercy on us, because Hebrews 10 verse 31 says, it is a fearful and terrifying thing to fall into the hands of God. Look, this is what has always been wrong with Ghana. Mismanagement of our national resources. It beats my mind, how we arrived at the plan that a nation needs an additional cathedral, to use limited state funds and donations to build, when the citizens are living in poverty. Students don't have classrooms to study in.
Okay, Wisdom, for the sake of our callers, you have the opportunity. Let's bring in Nadia from Newtown. Good morning.
Good morning.
What are your thoughts for us?
My dear, please, light has been going off every week in Newtown. You see, it has been...
Are you speaking of Accra Newtown? Accra Newtown?
Yes, Accra Newtown. Commercial bank, around commercial bank.
Around GCB, right. Go ahead.
It has been divided into two. The other side getting to Nima, even Jubilee House has been experiencing light off. Because I'm on a story building, I've been seeing it all. Even just, they went off on Friday, we went off on Sunday, we went off today and immediately came back. Even yesterday, it went off and also came back again. We have been experiencing, you see, the spread, it has been, you will go off for a while, I think from 6 to 11, then it comes back. And then the other side will also go from 6 to 11, and then it comes back. But the doom, they are doing it. It might not be consistent, but they have a particular time they do.
All right. We're grateful that you took the time to share with us. And indeed, before Wisdom goes on, there are certain areas that I know. You would see that it's like a timetable. This area will go off when this one has light. Next time, this one will go off when this one. It's like a rotation. But Wisdom, you were making a point.
Ben, to that caller's point, right? Doomsaw is alive and well. People are still experiencing this. Just last week, just few days ago, just few hours ago, yes, they were spending all of this money to build a national cathedral. Youth unemployment is so high. Our agriculture sector desperately needs capital infusion, for us to achieve food security. Again, we already have a handful of churches and cathedrals in Ghana. So unless God specifically requests that a national cathedral be built for his name, I would say this is likely nothing more than misallocation of resources and likely a grand scheme orchestrated for corruption purposes. If not, why would they bypass the Public Procurement Act in awarding the contract? It just doesn't make sense to me at all.
Right.
All right.
You said unless God himself, but how would God give us that instruction? Wisdom.
God speaks to us, right? God will speak to us in truth.
Anyway, Wisdom. Let me bring in Owusu, who's our last caller.
Okay.
He's calling from my area, so I want to do this one. Owusu calling from Jessica. Good morning.
Oh, Jessica.
Good morning. Hope you're all doing well.
Yes,
Fine.
you're great. Yeah.
This issue of issue of light off is rampant. At least every day from Jessica, right? Every day, at least 4 times. Can go off 5 minutes, then it will come back. Then we'll stay at least for 3 hours, then it will come back again. So it's like you saw in the skies, and they're not telling us the truth. It's rather not helping us. Businesses are not just doing well. The barbering shop and everywhere, they are all complaining. I don't know whether they are not giving them the right information. Please let them do something about it. It's rather irritating. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
I want to add this message coming in from our boss. Kweku says, tell him my light was off last night. Today I'm going to buy a generator worth 35,000. Money I could have used for something useful.
He doesn't have
The lights came on this morning. We are suffering.
He doesn't have to.
Which area? So from Golu
Okay.
to Accra Newtown.
Well, that's
to
fine.
Jessica.
You see, one of the things that I
like the fact that it's
I like
widespread.
yes.
even went up north.
And that
Somebody
tells you that this is not what we normally discuss on when we have this doomsaw issue. These widespread issues which are going off for 5 minutes, coming back, going off for 3 hours, coming back, could be intermittent overloading problems across the country, which is something that I'll call. Look, I'm happy that most of them are Greater Accra. Bismarck is going to get a call from me after this call, who is the regional manager for ECG. We need to get to perfection. We need to get to the point where today, about 2% of the people around the country are not happy. 98% are happy. From the calls we get in the small polls, me and Ben can agree on the sample size. 2% of people are not happy. But look, lights would always go off. There's nothing that nobody can sit on any panel and say that your light will never go off. Let me give you a typical example that happened last night. And I have taken upon myself to be calling around anytime I feel that, look, something is not right. Because my light also blinks as well. It's not like I live in a world where my light don't go off. But when my light goes, I call, right? And I find out that, oh, why is my light off? I have numbers that other people don't have, admittedly. And you will come to realize that because we run a multi-system where valves can go off, gas, look, there was an issue, and I have the video, I'll share with you privately, you see it. There was an issue where light went off, and they felt that the pressure in the pipes were not high enough. So they sent people on the line where the pressure was low. There are gas leakage coming from the ground, and they found that, and they have to shut it off and basically attend to it immediately. So we run a multifaceted system that is getting problems from time to time. So that will let people like go also. But that's not the same thing we are talking about when you guys talk of doomsaw, which we all seen before, when you can't even make a phone call because there's generators everywhere. Let me make my submission.
So in essence, it's doomsaw that
no, in essence, it is a system that is not perfect. It's a system that is not perfect that we seek to make perfect. We admit that there are challenges in the ECG system, in our distribution and transmission. There's investment that needs to be done. Now there's investment that needs to go to our pressure valves for the gas and stuff like that. And we need to make sure
that... Okay, Kojo, we have to make tracks.
Now, let me go. Chirag, look, I am for prosecution. Everybody that knows me know that I want the best to be done. If Chirag has found out that the National Cathedral did things that are untoward, they bypassed, they should be investigated and prosecuted. Nobody should get a free lunch or a free breakfast on our tax dollar, okay? So I believe that what Chirag has found is good. But again, the other side of it is that there were people's family involved. There was a reverend who was accused of having two names, two passports and all that. And it's good that Chirag has acted quickly, come out and said that, look, nothing untoward happened here. The man is okay to go. So his family can be in peace and he can be in peace.
Actually, on that matter, Chirag didn't say anything about it. What Chirag said was that in respect of the, is it 2.6 million or something of the sort, he had indeed lent the money at zero interest.
Right. But then,
hold for me. Okay. So what had been given him was merely a refund of his own money, even without interest. Okay. So you can't say that.
Okay, but fine. The issue of some interest. I'm reading that.
But what it says is that it is outside of the purview of what it's supposed to do, which is why it refers the matter to a different entity to deal with.
The procurement issues.
Which ones?
The procurement issues, it referred it to the procurement authority to investigate and prosecute the trust.
But the double identity bit itself, it doesn't address that, does it?
Well, that's fine, but most important, that's fine. So what I want to say is that it's good that Strag is acting, doing their mandate, and it's good that we can prosecute some of these things if there's any wrongdoing.
Okay, Ben.
And I think the High Court is even delving into that matter. That's a very interesting one. I don't know, though, because I just want to dwell here briefly before. In terms of the procurement breaches that occasioned the award of the National Cathedral construction contract to Rebade Company Limited, the report says there's reasonable suspicion of corruption and corruption-related offences. It goes on to recommend that the Auditor General conduct forensic audits on the construction of the National Cathedral project from its inception to date, recommends investigations and possible prosecution of Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral. Sweetie, this is what got me, because, you know, so many ministers, men of the cloth, and women of the cloth are in here. People I know personally. I mean, if this goes down, it goes a certain direction. And finally, it recommends the cancellation of the illegal, that's how it refers to it, National Cathedral construction contracts given to Rebade. So that leaves us with a can of worms, and I don't know how moving forward we're going to deal with that. So I just wanted to add to the conversation about the double identity. So actually, the report said that Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi has only one passport, that is the diplomatic passport, that is in our system. So I think what you were saying was right, that it's been clarified.
Yeah, I think
the point was the tax identification, right? The duplicity in there, because you can actually now, if you happen to have two, you have to reconcile them, which is why there was a suggestion that other entities should deal with it, including the GRA.
Okay,
let's move on to other papers.
Kojo, you do your papers.
Okay, my paper.
Some of these stories
City on resurgence. There is on the front page of the Business Analyst, it says that the Ghana cedi continuing its resurgence for a second week running, buoyed by the increase in liquidity of the Bank of Ghana. That is on the front page of the Business Analyst. And the other story, which I think everybody should be happy to see, is Baumia launches electric bus for public transport tomorrow. Tomorrow, 11 o'clock. you know, when Dr. spoke about his vision to basically introduce electric vehicle into our mass transport system, people were asking all sorts of questions. Are there charging units to charge it and blah, blah. And we are happy to announce that we have charging units installed at the Mass Metro transit yard. And these buses have come in, and tomorrow it will be launched and start the initial pilot on the Adenta Kimbu stretch of Accra. And people can enjoy these electric vehicles on our roads. I like the smile on your face.
Because I'm tempted to ask, would we be abandoning this too when something new comes to light like we did at Ayalolo?
No, Ayalolo is still working. Why is Ayalolo why is it abandoned? Ayalolo is very vibrant and working. Okay. If the mass transit works, Ayalolo is working. These are going to run on the routes of the Ayalolo, which is the Adenta Kimbu. We are not abandoning anything. Okay. What we seek to do is like what the UK is doing, having a lot of electric bus on their roads. We want to basically get to the point where the mass transit system, and it's not only for the Ayalolo and the mass transit, we can also extend it to the GPLTU and the other who wants to come in as cooperatives and basically get...
Let's make tracks with other stories. When you finish with this, then we...
Yes, I think I'll do those two stories.
Okay.
All right, Wisdom?
Wisdom.
Okay, on the depreciation of the city, right?
No, appreciation of the city.
Yeah, that's what I'm...
The story says that the city has appreciated.
Look, it's not appreciated enough, right? I'll tell you, I have direct impact from this, and I know what I'm talking to you about. And I've even read a comment by the governor of Bank of Ghana that the city will soon appreciate, and they have enough buffers in place. I think the governor is doing a good job on this occasion, trying to drive up confidence in the central bank's ability, you know, to manage the depreciation of the city ahead of the crunch time of the festive season. You know, public sentiment is a critical aspect of how markets behave, okay? And the governor knows that. And I think he's trying to influence that a bit here. Maybe, you know, in addition to any tangible policies that his outfit will roll out to address the decline of the city. But as of now, I don't believe that there is much appreciation of the city that is actually making any dent. But despite what the governor is saying, I am just not very certain that the Ghanaian public really trusts their words, right? Our leaders today, considering the fact that the city has been on a decline since 2016 or 17, and none of the policies of the bank, right, of the Bank of Ghana so far has caused the city to appreciate. So I think this is a challenge that the governor and also the finance leaders will have, or they have, you know, in trying to drive up public confidence. People want assurance by results and not just assurance by words.
Okay.
Interesting thoughts. Would you like to quickly do your second paper? Or your...
I think I did the first one, and the second paper is the Baumia launches the buses for mass transit.
There's also the story, if you may. Man loses 800,000 Ghana cedis after fire guts Old Fadama market. We don't have to, but we did the story yesterday. Adobe Asari was actually there, and it's a pretty interesting story. You know, we're talking about why you would keep 800,000. There's actually footage here, or photos of the money, some of the burnt money. So this is like a susu collector in a community which is unbanked.
Yes.
You know, so Old Fadama.
Yes.
So in the community, he sort of does this. And then there was a fire in another place, and the wind blew it, got to his end. And he says there have been fires before, but this is the first that got to their end.
Well, it's unfortunate it's unfortunate that in the world of digitalization, where everybody is doing mobile money interoperability, where you can move money from your mobile to your bank and all that, he's keeping cash. He should have easily taken the money to the bank as he gets it and basically move it from his bank account to distribute it on Momo if he has to. The world has moved on. Keeping cash for me is not an excuse. It's unfortunate he's lost 800,000. I don't think he has any insurance that will cover that. So it's a loss to his business, unfortunately.
Kojo, I think the way things are going with digitization and digitalization, you should give us digital money, digital hope, digital faith.
Yes. All that.
I mean,
no, it's good. You need
everything digital.
Digital, because
even digital thinking. The reason, give us some AI.
The reason people want to push digital doomsday when it's not there, they think it's there, and it's all that.
Oh,
look,
right.
The most important thing is where. It's digital thinking. It's digital hope. Digital, as Ben is saying, digital doomsday. Where they sit.
I like your digital bow tie.
Well, that's fine, and that is the way to go. That is why the kids of today. My 7-year-old niece, my 7-year-old nephew comes home and tells the mother, Mom, it is Mr. Digital that is going. We don't want chicken wings and kitty. you know, and that is what the kids are on now. They believe that.
I hate for your niece to be disappointed.
My nephew, sorry, my nephew.
Your nephew.
But look,
to be disappointed.
you know, one of the things that I have seen, and going back on the story that we have, is that the hope and aspirations of Ghanaians, be it digital or analog, is that they want the country to move forward. And I think that's what Dr. Baumia seeks to do. All right.
Let me quickly get into these papers. And so Daily Guide, Baumia is hope for Ghanaians. That's according to Freddie Wasimeu Blay. Natoshi rallies support for Baumia. Shraj clears Reverend Kusi Boateng, no conflict of interest. The Church of Jesus Christ holds Light the World campaign. I want to believe this is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Let me just look at that story. I just want to confirm out of curiosity because I hadn't. Yes, the Latter-day Saints. And the annual event, part of the global #Light the World movement, transformed the temple grounds into a beacon of hope and service, reflecting the season's true spirit. You see the HQ in I believe, Ghana, the main one on the, it's a beautiful edifice. Whenever you pass there, heading towards Cowbank and the rest, and I know people from there who also do great things. National security denies kidnapping Emirates manager. I want to get into this story because it's a very troubling one for me, and I've also seen the rhetoric on social media. Now, the Ministry of National Security has denied any involvement in the alleged kidnapping of Sylvia Baah, the manager of Emirates Airlines at the Kotoka International Airport. This comes after the Herald newspaper published a report claiming that officers from the ministry and the National Intelligence Bureau were responsible for the abduction. According to a statement issued by the ministry, no officer from the ministry or the NIB was involved in the alleged abduction. The statement indicated that the ministry had initiated investigations into the circumstances surrounding the incident and assured the public that those found culpable will face the full rigors of the law. You see, I find it really curious. She was supposedly going to the gym when she was abducted, okay? There was some rhetoric, and the claim is that it came up that she had denied certain national security operatives who were traveling the opportunity of enplaning, getting on board. The reason being that they were horribly late. And you know what processes you go through. And at certain points, even for security reasons, you are not allowed to now get people in for security reasons. That is the claim. And she was supposedly picked up, prevented from calling her husband, roughed up, spoken to for a long time. I don't know whether her phone was taken. And then eventually blindfolded and dumped somewhere in Ashaiman. She goes to a police station and then gets some money to board a trotro. I don't know, but we should really get to the bottom of this, shouldn't we?
And that's just one narrative. The other one,
and I heard bongo ideas on social media.
I want to be very careful not to spread misinformation, but to put that woman under blast because it's alleged that she's involved.
Who?
Alaji's wife, the woman who sells Alaji's wife's watch.
Yeah.
Apparently, she was the one who was denied entry because she was late, and then everything.
I hear it wasn't one person. There were multiple people.
But I'm just saying that until we've confirmed what really happened, don't put anybody on blast,
Well, so it will be very unfortunate if that is the reason why she was kidnapped, and I hope that there will be thorough investigation into this matter. She was just doing her job, right?
Yeah.
So if she was really kidnapped because of that, I think some heads have to roll for that.
Absolutely.
Well, and of course, we should also be careful because national security is involved. People will say that, maybe we should be careful. Who was involved? We have to cross-check that. So I agree with national security. They are saying they don't know. But my problem is, like with Ayawasu West Wuogon and some of the things that happened, masked people that you can't. You see, all those things create. We have to get to the bottom of this because I saw Bongo Ideas is not someone you would take for. But you remember his incident. And people were referencing it on. I don't think it creates a good.
What I was going to say is that it's easy to check these things. Today in Accra, it's very easy to track the minute she was picked up, where that car went, and where she was dumped.
You mean some of the cameras?
All the cameras worked, yes. Everywhere in Accra.
It's not everywhere.
It's everywhere. My brother, it's everywhere. You've not looked well. Accra is one of the most covered areas under CCTV today. I'm telling you.
I'm not disputing that.
Right. So those Huawei cameras.
It's not everywhere.
No, well, from here to my house, and I live towards the outskirts of Accra, and I see those cameras everywhere. Some have been hit by cars and accidents, and they are off and they've not been installed. But in 80 to 90% of Accra is covered. I am saying that the police should investigate this thoroughly. Because look, it can be just some young guys who basically feel that they can do it and they've done it, because it did happen, right? The woman was abducted and basically, as you said, driven around, spoken to, and dumped. What was the conversation in the car? That could help police also conduct their investigation. Was it referencing that she did something to some people and blah, blah, blah? Because these boys must have done some loose talk. What was the conversation? That will go a long way to help the police. I think that IGP Dampare, who's been doing a marvelous job in the coming weeks, in the past week and past month and past year since he's been IGP, should get to the bottom of this and let us know. They've been doing well, and I don't think it's difficult with the kind of technology we have today on the streets of Accra. It's difficult to investigate that.
Okay.
All right, so just concluding on this, and then I'll go to my final paper. Dr. Orleans Lindsay is EMY, African Man of the Year. Dr. James Kondria Orleans Lindsay, Chief Executive Officer of JL Properties and Head of the Legal Division at the GIPC. Tanzanian energy regulators understudy NPA's operations. The other day when I read the story for the first time, I said, whether it's Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya, they'll come and understudy us. Before you know, they've beaten us, and our system is still where it is. But on the energy front, Economy Times. Ghana to face electricity load shedding as 3 IPPs risk shutting down. 3 major independent power producers are likely to shut down due to unpaid debt of $259 million owed by the ECG if government fails to act swiftly, the executive director of the Institute for Energy Security has said. Nana Mwesi the 7th has therefore advised government to immediately take steps to avert a return to the power supply challenges experienced in the past. There's also Ghana to exit debt default by mid-2025, according to Fitch, and Ghana to receive $360 million from the IMF. That's it for me.
Kojo mouthing fake news.
Fake news, yes, fake news.
But I heard him on a week ago say that until something is done.
He's repeating fake news. Let me tell you where this story came out. Elikplem, who is the...
Which Elikplem?
He heads the...
the IPP.
IPP chamber, yes.
I just wanted to be sure he was the one you were referring to.
He came out and said that 3 companies, including Asogli, right? You did a story earlier that said Asogli is back. Asogli shut down on the 8th of October on their own. Government indebtedness in this sector is nothing new. We are working to make sure the sector works better. And
when you say on their own, what exactly?
They decided, look, they were owed. They have a power purchase. They have indebtedness. That's what I said. They are indebtedness. So, but the thing is, you have a power purchase agreement, which stipulates the processes within which you go through before you can shut down. They went against the power purchase agreement they have and shut down because they said that they demanded $60 million from the government and they've not been paid. Admittedly,
they're not being paid was also in breach of the contract with them.
Yes, but then
let's address it. Contractually,
but that's fine.
Government was already ECG and the whole system was already in the wrong.
But
let's
there
not
are
make
remedies
it as though they were the guilty
party.
party.
Every contract favors both sides. There are remedy in the contract in default of payment. What the process you
they had tried with those remedies.
Well, that's fine.
They were
but
not
what
getting.
I'm
How do you expect them to operate?
Well, that's fine. So when Elikplem now come out and said that 2 other companies, as well as we've checked with all the IPPs, and nobody said that we've told him that we're going to shut down. Nobody. We asked him. He was asked on TV and all radio stations to name the other 2. He says it's confidential. How is it confidential? You can say Asogli, but you can't say the other 2. So there was no other 2 companies that were to shut down by Friday. Today is Tuesday. Nobody has shut down. The lights are on. So what Nana Mwesi repeated was fake news.
Anyway, I received a message from Naya Manuel who says, "Good morning, Benjamin. We have light now, but in Kwabenya, light goes off in the day and at night as well. Last week, it went off 3 times, then came on for a second, then went off. Please, Dumso is alive and kicking."
Well, I'm glad that everybody
she's a 72, 73-year-old.
God bless him. It's a her.
It's a she.
It's a she. God bless her. What I'm saying is that it's good she has light. We'll investigate all these things. Bismarck is going to be the most busiest man this morning. I'm going to call the regional manager of ECG to investigate all these outages.
City, I think this morning we can call Kojo Poku the light investigator.
Wisdom, right before you come in, I just want to add that NPP MPs are pushing for a 3rd recall of Parliament. Go ahead.
I was going to actually talk about the ECG's struggle with the revenue collection. Right? I thought some time ago I read that they were implementing a new debt or revenue collection strategy to go after various institutions and consumers, to collect debt owed to the ECG and also improve their general revenue collection. So apparently, it doesn't seem that strategy worked for them. And so I'm inclined to agree that indeed revenue collection shortfalls I think that is a key contributing factor that has crippled, the energy sector, made doom so worse. But I'll take it a step further to say that lack of proper strategic planning is also contributing to the energy crisis in the nation. I think the solution to solving doomsday, that solution should touch all of the players, in the energy ecosystem, from generation to distribution to, revenue collection. And I'm of the opinion that we don't always plan well to grow or leverage our utility supplies in tandem with population growth. But prior to 2017, the government did a great job when it comes to improving capacity of power generation and reliable supply of fuel. But all of that hard work was mismanaged from 2017 to date. That is why we are still where we are when it comes to doomsday.
Well, thank you. We need to wrap up. I just want to read out the headlines on the Hawk newspaper. NPP MPs push for third recall of Parliament. President Akufo-Addo urges Ghana Armed Forces to stay neutral, ensure peace. Dwabosu MPP hits back, rejects Akando's EC claims as lies. And Ghana missing on IMF 2025 growth list. Mohammed Senior High School plan, elitist code, say varsity dons. Anyway, thank you so much. Wisdom Dogbe, financial analyst. Thank you, Kojo Poku.
We don't comment on the last comment. We don't comment.
If you have 30 seconds, because 30 seconds. Overrun.
Well, I honestly don't see what going back to, unless there is some technical constitutional thing that if they don't go back will happen. I don't see what's the point. 10 days to election, what are they going to do in Parliament?
There's a lot of things to do. Government business, even.
Well, I know, but I mean, for the conundrum that we have, why waste the time? Let's face the election, win, get majority in Parliament, and basically put the NDC to shame and come back into power.
Budgetary issues that they have to.
Well, I'm sure there's a way around it.
And I guess even as we go, this was wisdom. We have to go, but Ghana will go for another debt restructuring in the next 3 years. I just remembered this story. Dr. Richmond Etiahene.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Saying that.
Wisdom.
So you get your 20 seconds or so. Let's go.
Look, this debt restructuring that you're talking about, right? We all know that unless something is done quickly today, 2 years, a year or two down the road, we will have to go back to restructure our debt. How can we pay our debt if we're not producing or raising enough revenue and the debt continues to grow? Okay. We are mismanaging the debt, and until something changes, I think we are going nowhere with that one.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Kojo, for doing us the honors today. I don't know, but Wisdom Dogbe may be in town one of these days. When he is, it would be good to have both of you in the studio.
Then,
I'm looking forward to it.
By then, it will be after election. I'll be in a buoyant mood. I'll come in my all white, and we can definitely talk about it.
We have that on record.
Kojo Poku is an energy analyst. Wisdom Dogbe is a financial analyst. I did this together with Sweetie Abochi. Do stay. Muftar Nabila Abdullah is up next with sports.